Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the 21st Century Underground. This week, we're going to be talking about comedy in the different artistic mediums, namely music, literature, and film. We've each selected one. We're going to kind of get into that, and then afterwards, we'll kind of have a free-for-all discussion about comedy in general, and it's also why we're wearing these silly shirts. It's lots of fun.
We're going to do some comedy love.
We like to have fun here. So anyway...
silly or swag, some, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Right, yeah.
They're more goofier than I
Yeah,
am.
mine's like a Hawaiian shirt. Says
I just didn't feel like getting back up.
So, and then I am Salvatore Ronaldo. I am the writer here. And then with me,
Brand Salas, filmmaker, director, all those things. Extraordinaire.
I'm Mike Villarreal, and I am the audio guy and make music, producer, everything to do with audio.
cool.
Not to start off of a tangent, but as a half Spanish speaker, I find Villarreal one of the hardest last names to say.
Thank you. It is pretty tough.
Yeah,
Because it's a long, and you gotta say
Yeah, you get the
and
double L and double
Uh-huh.
R combined in one name. I'm like, holy shit.
and then you gotta end it with the L.
Yeah.
So Villarreal, and then kind of like, you know.
Is that why you're so good in bed?
Hashtag good in bed.
And on that note, we're gonna begin our episode.
All right, Sal, bring back.
Today we're discussing comedy. We've all kind of done our due diligence and kind of tried to think about like things that we've really responded to, like in our own respective medium, and kind of thought about why it was funny. Who wants to get into their funny shit first? I think maybe we should go with film last, probably.
I'll do whatever.
I'm down for anything.
You're down for anything? All right. Well,
You want to roll?
you want to roll with it? Yeah.
Okay. So, and you know, I got my other film choices and literature choices, which I'll speak to about it after we all discuss our own. And so the music thing, I personally didn't want to choose like purposeful comedic things like artists who are purposely trying to be funny, like parodies.
Weird Al.
Weird Al Yankovic and what's the comedian?
Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
He's not a parody, but he's purposely funny.
He's like a musical comedian almost,
Yeah.
like Zach Galifianakis kind of. Bo Burnham does like more elaborate songs though. He's like more of like an expert. Yeah.
And he's pretty freaking good too.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to pick songs that were probably unintentionally funny, and so and actually one of them that was funny but like crossing the line funny. So
That sounds interesting.
to get to it, to me, Little B, when I first heard him, if you guys haven't heard him, he's like he's a rapper who like makes he calls himself the bass god, and I like a lot of his music, and he's a fun guy, but I don't think he intended to be funny, but he kind of comes off that way when I first heard him. He's just kind of like the lyrics, the how he just pops out music, not heavily edited. And one of his songs, if you want to look it up, is like Lil B, Wu-Tang Soup, probably his most famous song. But he has endless amount of music. He's so much music. He's kind of like another guy who is doesn't tend to be funny, but kind of can come off that way, is Riff Raff. And
yes.
I feel like when I think of Lil B and I think of anyone related to him, I think of like Riff Raff and what are the chicks called? I'll come back to it. But he's just it's just the way you got to listen to it first of all, and you can hit pause, don't hit pause, check it out afterwards. But Little B, Wu-Tang Soup, check it out, it's funny. And I showed it to these guys, and they were like, okay, like sounds like amateur SoundCloud rapper kind of esque, right? But this
Yeah, a
is
little bit. Yeah.
this happened way before that. Even though he was releasing in SoundCloud and World Star, and he was kind of like one of the, I guess, OGs of it. And he's from the group called I forgot the group's name, but he's known for the Van song. It got a little popular during MySpace time.
Oh, I think.
Okay.
And he pretty much, people make songs about shoes and stuff, and he made it about Vans. But he deviated to do his own thing and created Little B, the bass god. And so it's just how it starts. If you listen to it, he kind of goes like, has this like little self monologue where it's like, oh my god, bass god, fuck, you can fuck my bitch, bass god. And he's hyping himself up before he even talks, before he even starts rapping. And when he starts going, it's just funny. It's just funny. I don't 100% know if he's being intentional or not. Same thing with Riff Raff. Like I've seen interviews with Riff Raff, and he's like he seems like he's pretty serious. There's not much preparation. He just kind of goes with it. And he's just so proud. I saw one interview where he's like, I'm really I got 100 songs like in like a year, or like some crazy thing like where not many artists do, where they just release music. It's not fully produced. It's not fully mastered.
Yeah.
It's not fully thought of. He's just in the spot, boom, 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 kind of thing.
Mm.
And because of that, I think there are a lot of funny moments in that. And then another guy everyone knows from YouTube and early YouTube, Pink Guy, I guess formerly known as Pink Guy, but now he's known as Joji. Really great artist, Joji. But Pink Guy, when he's doing his like little comedic skit music, he's kind of well known for like wearing what do you call it? Those onesies.
Oh, like one colored.
Yeah, it's one color. It's usually like a green suit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What are they called?
I can't remember.
But yeah, but he wears it pink.
Yeah.
And I think he was the one who started the Harlem Shake.
Oh,
Really?
okay. I didn't
The
know that.
whole trend. It was his video
Wow.
series on his YouTube. When they do
I
that.
fucking Harlem. Ugh.
Remember when I was a teen?
It hurts
You
a
know what I
little bit, but I do remember it.
But
Only because I was forced to do it. But
did you guys do a video?
yeah, in my very quick tangent in my film school, obviously it became big, and we were getting mild talk about doing one, but it wasn't really serious. But then like my teacher came in. I guess my older professor came in. He's like very traditional grip, like he's been on older films and everything. He came in and he was just depressed. He like got up and just went on this rant about the Harlem Shake, and he's like, no, maybe that's what we gotta do. Maybe that's what you gotta do nowadays. Just go on YouTube and make the Harlem Shake. In fact, right now, today, we're gonna all get up and make the Harlem Shake. And so he lost it. And he's like, no, we're going to go in. We're going to go. Like, he got the equipment from the cave. It wasn't even our plan for the day. It wasn't what we're supposed to be working on. He, took us in the room, a different room, and he just told us to do it. And he was like, yeah, that's right. We're gonna put it up line. We're going to be big. It's going to be the Harlem Shake. That's what we got to do these days. Fuck it. Who cares? Who cares about film? Just got to hit a mini breakdown over it.
Wow, that's funny. Did you ever?
No, I never really.
Anything with
no,
him?
no, I don't think so.
Behind the
I
scenes?
remember seeing them, but then I was like, okay. And I didn't take it the same way as Professor did. I was just kind of like, well, this is a thing now, and I just kind of moved on.
Yeah. But yeah, he's Pink Guy's on Spotify, and obviously he's on YouTube. He has his own YouTube series. I think he has multiple channels. I haven't really been up to date with his content. I've been loving Joji and what he's doing there, and but one of his most extreme songs that are like funny, but like what the fuck, borderline like funny. That no joke, the YouTube comments on this song is at another level of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And Pink Guy, Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
When I first showed these guys that song, for those who don't know, check it out.
Yeah.
You'll be like, what the fuck? And read the comments too on the YouTube, and on the YouTube, guys.
On the computer.
On the computer. But when I first, they were like, "What the fuck?" What were your guys' first impressions when you heard this?
Yeah, basically just what the fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
it was over the top,
yeah.
but like, because he kind of like gave us a little bit of a warning that he's not sure if we'll find it funny. But I mean, you hear it's not. I get it. It's really extreme.
Yeah.
But like it's so extreme to the point that if you don't realize that
It's ridiculous.
a joke,
If you take it seriously, like,
Yeah.
the joke is on you. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's one of those things, like, I feel like, I don't know if it had, like, a wide enough release, or, like, I feel like anybody on Twitter could, like, really find problems with it, but it's just, like, it's so stupid. Like, it's like, if you do, it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why are you...
I mean, what did Aquafina do? What was her crazy song that she did? It was like
I can't remember.
Iggy Azalea made a song about pussy before
She
blew.
did, yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite Iggy Azalea songs. It just hits hard in the bass. But anyways, just kind of give the audience out there a little bit of a warning and kind of what's it about. It's pretty much Dora the Explorer. He kind of like
Is it My Vag?
yes.
Okay, all right. There we
My
go.
Vag
Cleared
by
up.
Aquafina?
Yeah, by Aquafina, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she also did her first single was Queef.
I was gonna mention Queef too, but I was like, no,
right.
we'll move on. We'll
Go
move
into-
on. Yeah.
So to get a quick warning, and just to mention a little bit, pretty much Pink Guy raps about Dora the Explorer character, kind of like sexually, fantasizing doing sexually things to her. Even though it's just an animation.
You know, I'm uncomfortable with this song again now that we're describing it. Now that we're like breaking it down, I'm like, oh god.
But like, it's clearly a fucking like a joke, and it's but
It was like the hook is like because she's human and I'm animation or something like
Yeah.
that. No, I'm human and she's animation.
like
that's the funny
this
part.
ain't illegal. I'm a human and she's an animation. or
Yeah,
something
there
like
you go.
that.
Yeah,
this is stupid.
Bring that little Mexican.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, you gotta check it out. If don't check it out
Yeah, or don't.
with I mean, this is kind of the song you kind of check out by yourself.
Yeah.
Unless you want to freak out
not
other
safe
people
for work.
around you.
Not safe
not
for
safe
work.
for
Yeah.
work at all. Unless
Yeah.
you're quitting and you're on your way to the door, maybe slap that song.
That'd be pretty cool.
Just slap that
Yeah.
song and just walk out. See what happens. All right, but that's pretty much what I got. Shout out to all the comedic musicians out there.
Cool. We'll talk. My natural instinct is want to talk about a little bit more and like musical things I have to share, but we'll share that. We'll save that for the end.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Um,
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll go next. Yeah, with literature, actually, who I wanted to talk about specifically, and just because I've been reading it, I want to talk about Thomas Pynchon. I want to talk about Bleeding Edge by Thomas Pynchon, which I have right here.
I thought you just had that there, so
The
you
problem-
got bored.
Yeah, no, yeah, just like in the middle of you guys talking, I was just gonna read it and be like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, great book, by the way, and then also really funny. Like, I mean, I've been reading it, and basically like every chapter there'll be at least one moment where I'm like, I think with generally speaking with literature, there's like less. Like, laugh out loud funny and more snickering, but at this one I've been like laughing out loud at certain points.
You're telling me books are funny?
They can be, yes. Brandon here was talking about how he's found less comedy in books, and I think the reason for that, I mean, like with like Charles Bukowski, like snickered,
Yeah.
But like I feel like there's more of that.
My point was I was saying before we started, just to give it some context, I feel like books aren't very funny. Like what got my attention was I'm recently reading one that actually has some more funny moments than I had in a long time. It's called Sympathizer by
I can't remember his name. Yeah.
anyways, point is I was reading it and like it was very obviously funny, and it was like good funny written. I didn't necessarily laugh out loud still, and that was kind of my point. Is I can't think of a time where I'm like reading a book where I started laughing out loud because it was so funny.
I feel like literature is generally like that. There are times where I've laughed out, like with this one I've laughed out loud a lot, and he has a lot of moments, and a lot of it is just like these like references that you don't expect, and then the way that he structures sentences too, it's like you have to read him very closely and patiently sometimes, because it's just the way he'll wrap the sentence around, and you'll realize that there's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like a run-on sentence that punctuates. It's like Kafka apparently did this, except he went on for paragraphs sometimes, but with Pynchon it's like he'll like, you won't realize that he's doing like this like weird turn of phrase until you get to the end of the sentence, and you're just like, like I have a lot of moments where I'm just like come on. You know what I mean? It's like really, but it's really funny. And a lot of it, it's like great because it takes like sort of like really intelligent, it's really intelligent writing and deals with like very serious social issues, like, you know, gentrification particularly is a big one that comes up, and sort of abuse of power and greed and things like that, and sort of the way in which, because this one takes place during the, like right after the .com boom, and then it's like during 2001. It takes place before and then after 9/11. And so it's like this like period of time, a lot like Inherent Vice. I think this is very much a companion novel to Inherent Vice. This one takes place in New York City in 2001, and Inherent Vice was Los Angeles in 1970 in California, like right at the end of the hippie movement. And it's always the transition between like this sort of freedom of expression. In this case, it's the like sort of the tech people of like the 90s when it was like this emerging sort of subculture and industry, and you had the whole .com craze during that period where venture capitalists were just throwing money at tech entrepreneurs and trying to like, you know, make something from like the next great idea. And the bubble ended up bursting and ended up collapsing completely, and it takes place right after that. But it's this whole idea of when it was like this free, sort of expressive, individual kind of movement that was innocent and wasn't really about greed or power. And then it's in that transitional period where industry has sort of focused their gaze on them and figured out how to exploit them. And then the whole enterprise itself, whatever it is, in the case of Inherent Vice, it was the hippie movement in the 60s, and then it kind of came to a halt in the 1970s right after the Manson murders. And, you know, it's like how these things become monetized. Because in Inherent Vice, for example, you have the cop character, like the like sort of humorless flat-foot, you know, you remember the movie Josh Brolin? Yeah, he's dressed up like a hippie, selling things on TV as a spokesman. Yeah, yeah, that was good. Yeah, and he's on TV using like the guise of a hippie, even though he's like this like sort of like really straight-laced, kind of problematic cop, and he's using that to sort of sell things on TV. You know what I mean? And so it's like kind of this idea that the whole thing has sort of been taken over by the same sort of forces in American society that kind of corrupted, you know, a lot of other aspects of our lives. And it's really interesting in that way. And this book is like very intelligent, it has a lot to say, and there's a lot of depth to it, but it makes me laugh a lot because on the surface level, there's just all these like funny, ridiculous jokes, you know what I mean? And like ridiculous humor, and kind of like, you know, it goes from like really high art to like low toilet humor. And I just really appreciate that because it's just like a synthesis of everything.
Toilet humor?
Yeah. Just like, yeah, like, you know.
Is that like an actual phrase?
I mean, have you heard that before? I feel like that's, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I understand.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like literally.
It's just the first time I heard that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. All right, yeah, no worries. But yeah, and
dick humor is another one.
And I think the problem, yeah, I mean, a lot of dick humor too. Yeah, there's a lot of that. But yeah, a lot of erections and stuff like that, especially in Gravity's Rainbow. But anyway, the whole point is it's building into like a greater idea. And I feel like the reason that books lend themselves more to satirical writing and to sort of like the more snickery kind of like below the surface comedy rather than like sort of the out loud, you know, Charlie Chaplin, you know, just for an example, like the slapstick is because just by their very nature, like it's made up of words. So it's more conceptual than it is physical or action oriented. It's less kinetic and more idea based, more thought based. And so it's going to translate into satire more often than not, I feel like, and it'll be sort of, I don't know, just headier, you know what I mean? And so I feel like that's why, not necessarily that there's less comedy, but it just kind of exists in the way it does. You know, I mean, I wrote a whole list of people that I thought were funny. You know, I mean, there's Thomas Pynchon. I mean, I realized when I first started reading, like a lot of the people that I read were darkly humorous. Like they had a joke, but inside of the joke was an important message. So, you know, like Thomas Pynchon, Kurt Vonnegut, William S. Burroughs, I read a lot. Chuck Palahniuk is like that too. Kafka, like I've laughed out loud reading Kafka before because like there's this you know, because it's like this like really, everyone assumes that he's like super dark, but he is dark and kind of bleak, and there's like this anxiety that sort of circulates throughout all of his writing, but he's also very funny. And apparently he actually got noise complaints too from his neighboring tenants in his apartment from laughing so hard when he was writing some of his stuff. And I get that because there's this one book, it has like this almost like Coen Brothers type humor to it. Like there was not a book, but a short story. It was The Penal Colony, and it was about a prison colony. And a traveler goes and visits, and I think it's the warden is just showing him this
execution device that's like nonsensically elaborate. Like it puts the person through like 12 hours of just nonstop. Like it takes like 12 hours to kill them. And it's like this ridiculous thing. And the Explorer is trying to ask other questions about other aspects of like the prison colony and how it works. And he's like, yeah, that's all good. But like, can I tell you about the apparatus? You know what I mean? And he keeps drawing his attention to it. And eventually the warden, just being so obsessed with it, throws himself into it. And it ends up like, it's just like insane. But yeah, I don't know. It's all very conceptual though, because like that is like obviously an indictment of capital punishment in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I feel like the joke is always delivering an idea. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be as kind of a knee slapper, as much as in film, or music when they're kind of talking directly towards you. But that might be a little bit more similar. But yeah, like it just seems like it lends itself more to satire and more to, I don't know, a message of some kind. But yeah, those are all things that I thought were funny. So
I can only picture you just like just like sitting there just laughing.
Yeah, I've done that in coffee shops before, especially with Pynchon. I've been in like a coffee shop reading his stuff, and I'll just kind of start laughing, and then I'll look around and be like, sorry. And or at work, and everyone just, no matter what,
you apologize?
No, I mean not
You're
really.
like,
No, I mean I'll just kind of look around and be like, But like no matter what, if you're reading a book, just because no one else is sort of experiencing what you are, you always look crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, when you're laughing at it is what I've noticed. But
I can relate that, but not. I mean, I've like when I listen to audibles at work, and I'm a mechanic. That's my day job. I have I have AirPods, and I throw one on while I'm working. Whatever, it keeps me concentrated, but it also distracted with everything else in the world, and I can just focus on my job. Mm-hmm. So I when I'm listening to audibles or podcasts or whatever, and I have like funny moments, I'm just like dying laughing, and I'm just like. Yeah, I can only like when I had coworkers turn around and like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, you hand them
I'm like, and they already know I'm listening to something.
Yeah,
like, oh,
he's definitely done that podcast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh man,
you hand them the card to like from Joker. But yeah, no, and I don't know, Pynchon. Yeah, no, I just love him, but his stuff is like I don't know, it's all very. I don't know, it's very cerebral and intelligent. It has a lot to say, and it's very dense, but at the same time, I think it's really cool that it can just be funny and just make like crass jokes. Like Gravity's Rainbow was like this big important novel that like sort of like intellectuals all pretend to read and stuff, but it was denied the Nobel Prize in the 1974 because like it had been voted to be like this is the greatest novel, like this deserves it and whatnot, but there were several members of the judges board that were just like, no, we're absolutely not going to allow this book to win a prize that prestigious because there's a scene where someone's eating human shit. It's just like, oh man. But I just thought it was so funny. That's the reason it got denied. I don't know, it kills me.
On a small note, just because I won't have a lot to say towards when we actually do the open discussion, I can actually see that one. I only watched the movie, but the other book by Chuck Palahniuk, what's it called?
Choke?
Choke.
Yeah,
I can see that being pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can see that
for
one being
sure.
pretty funny while reading it.
Yeah. It's and actually there was a really good line.
Yeah.
That title though.
Yeah, choke. Yeah, there was a guy who pretends to choke in order to get like sympathy from strangers and stuff like that. And
okay. Yeah. I can see how it can be funny.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that
like,
one. Watching it, I was like, oh yeah.
There are a lot of funny lines in Fight Club too.
No,
and, like,
there
the
are.
humor comes out in the movie, but it's more Fight Club is more intense, I guess. It's more, it takes itself a little bit more seriously, even though it's funny.
Like it's almost like it's back to that Snicker thing.
Oh, and Flannery O'Connor is. I mean, you get a lot of this too, where there's a lot of dark humor. Flannery O'Connor can be extremely funny, but it's always relating to like death, and you know what I mean. It's like she had like this real kind of what's the word for it? It was almost like a caustic wit. You know what I mean? It was very I don't know. Something horrible was always happening to somebody, and that was why it was funny. But yeah, then I don't know.
Hold on, we'll say going through it. You save that for them. I'd save the rest of those ones for when we talk about.
Oh, sure, yeah. No, I was just a little asides, but yeah, no. I mean, that's most of what I have to say. If we want to, in the interest of time, we could kind of go into it a little bit more later. And,
yeah. But yeah, Edgar Wright. Overall, it's kind of like what I wanted to talk about. Edgar Wright is a director who did Shaun of the Dead, basically the whole Cornetto.
It's a
Cornetto.
British ice cream.
Cornetto trilogy. I thought it was a fake one.
No, it's real.
Oh, I thought it was fake.
I'm pretty sure it's real.
Okay. Anyways, he did the Cornetto trilogy, which is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. He did Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and he also did Baby Driver. Those are some of his bigger ones. Some smaller stuff. He also did a show called Space.
Space.
Which is pretty
Was
funny.
he
pretty
the
good.
producer, director?
Director in all of those. I don't know if he produced, but he was definitely director in all of those. Really funny. Really, all those things are really funny. And what's really great about them, and the reason why I chose that, is there's a lot of great funny stuff out there. But what I love about his work is it's really artistically well done and still funny, and everything about it supports the funny. It's not just about capturing characters saying a bunch of jokes back and forth to each other. It's literally, and all of it in its entirety is funny. The cinematography is funny. The editing is funny. The music is funny.
There's a spectacular every frame a painting video about just his editing and his use of camera work and how it lends to the comedy in every single scene. Like it's all tuned towards that, you know?
And what's cool is I did a little bit of my research prior, and it really is like it's Edgar Wright. Like, yeah, he works with a fairly in his career on the different films that he worked on. It's been a variety of cinematographers. A couple of them maybe did two, but it's not like it's one cinematographer for every single one, and it's not like it's one editor for every single one. So it really is him working closely with whether a cinematographer or whatever editor he's working on.
Another thing too is his jokes seem to blend seamlessly into the plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the character. Like, it's never betrayed. It's not like Family Guy where the characters just serve whatever purpose they want them to and will change their personality completely to do a gag. But it all fits.
Yeah. It makes sense. And it's just, if it's you get a huge sense of a complete product when you're watching it. And they're just so funny. And I love that because to do that, what kills me about comedy is there's a lot of funny movies. There's a lot of good movies where it's funny, but doesn't necessarily look good, sound good, or anything like that. But I feel like there's no reason for it not to look good. I feel like there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with comedy to help support the cinematography and make it more interesting. You don't just have to do even lighting coverage. What are you going to say,
And
Mike?
you're talking about comedy movies.
Comedy movies.
Not like stand-up, just to clarify for the audience.
Yeah, comedy movies. There's no reason to only do even lighting, just coverage is what they call that when you just shoot for the sake of getting what you need and nothing else.
Yeah, they feel almost sterile. Like you can tell that they were just kind of cranking it out. You know?
Yeah. And like a good example of a movie that I find hilarious in its writing. Well, here let's stick with Edgar Wright for right now. We'll stick to Edgar Wright. So
you know who's a shitty comedy director? Never mind. Sorry, go ahead. I do have a couple of examples. There's a lot of Hollywood like acts like that right now that just sort of crank it out.
What's interesting, what's cool about it is it really honors the things that I really love about film. I love the idea of planning and really taking time and love and care for your shots. So a thing that he does of his editing and his shots is a lot of scenes blend into the next scenes, or shots blend into other shots. So it's like suddenly you're just into another scene and you didn't realize even what happened. There's a lot of those moments in Scott Pilgrim specifically, especially since that one is based off a comic book, so he's really trying to go for that comic book vibe, and he did it really well,
very successfully, better than I think anybody. Because that is an easy thing to fuck up and just make distracting. I feel like Zack Snyder, like. And I say his movies, like, they're not totally bad, but like you see a lot of that with people like him, and like there's kind of like that whole Sin City circle that kind of grew up after that, where they're like trying so hard to make it pulpy that the style is attracting so much attention to itself that it kind of ruins the film.
But like he keeps it quick. He uses not just camera techniques or editing techniques, but even lighting techniques to help create these transitions. Suddenly, like in Scott Pilgrim, all the lights turn off. He's by himself, and then suddenly he's like in a different location. It's just
the train
really cool.
sequence from Hot Fuzz. I don't mean to keep jumping in, but I love his movies. So,
the movies are great, and they really are like they're spectacular. If you haven't watched them, you really should go watch them. All of it's really funny.
We're coming to get you, Barbara. That's like one of my favorite.
The dialogue's on point. Everything is so on point. It's just there's so much love there,
and the gags aren't even all like the big scene gags. It's like he'll have like all these small little asides within the scene. You know what I mean? There's so much. It's like it's kind of like this. It's the same reason I like Pynchon. Is it's like. I don't know. There's so much in each. I don't know. There's so much density, I guess, to each one. But it's all very accessible.
It's a very complete thing. With the in the background, background actors are doing something funny. It's all very complete. It's not just again highlighting those front actor jokes. It's everything.
Which one do you like the most?
So I have a special love. I think Scott Pilgrim specifically in all those other areas of editing, cinematography, even like some special effects. I really feel like it's a film worth studying.
Yeah,
I think so sincerely
too.
do.
That's probably my fave out of. No, I haven't seen all of them, but out of the ones you've named that I've seen, I like Scott Pilgrim all.
It's a real tight race between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz for me. Those two.
I love Shaun of the Dead, but then Scott Pilgrim. I feel like I just honor.
That's a good one too.
Just so highly. It's very rewatchable for me. But the thing is, like, if you need to find a way to enhance your editing or look for a way to just look at your storytelling, your visual storytelling differently, I think it's a perfect example to kind of
Yeah.
expand your mind a little.
Yeah.
I love the way it was shot, even though I'm not too key on to looking at how everything was. You know, I don't have that keen eye, but I feel like I'm watching. It feels different.
It keeps your eyes on it.
Yeah, it feel. I just how it angles and my funniest part that I in that movie that I like the most is boyfriend number one. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's been out.
Spoilers alert.
It's been
Yeah.
out, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Come on.
Go
But-
ahead, Mike.
But I think it was boyfriend number one is like this dark guy with long hair.
Yeah, yeah.
He just comes. It just completely like you did not expect that movie to go that direction.
I love the scene.
Super like sci-fi esque, cartoony.
In a similar
anime.
vein, I love. I mean, because I think this kind of fits almost in with like the kind of humor that was in like Hot Fuzz and mostly Hot Fuzz, but yeah, I mean both of them. But I really like the scene where what's her name? What's his girlfriend? The first girlfriend that he's with, who gets the highlights knocked out of her hair.
Knives.
Yeah. Yeah,
Knives
I like
Chow.
this scene where she comes to see him and he literally just immediately jumps through the window, like just through the glass. And his roommate's like, yeah, he's not here right now. Like, I love that gag for some reason. It's so stupid.
For real, it's like
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, and the thing is, to do that, you have to do your homework. You have to like do all that. The way that all works is working very closely with your cinematographer and your editor, but then you get to plan it. Those shots don't just magically happen from the footage that you can't use coverage footage to make that happen. Like you literally have to plan those shots pretty painstakingly to
And I
get
can
all those
tell.
to seamlessly flow.
That's what I like about it, because he it almost looked like and I don't know this, but he storyboarded. Like he planned on editing it this way. He planned on capturing it this
Yeah.
way.
Well, his
and adding the
some
effects.
gags rely completely on where the camera is placed and like the sound effects too, or else it wouldn't work because
sound design. I literally
Yeah.
did a project on sound design for this film.
that one scene with the Andes and Hot Fuzz where they're like sort of intimidating Simon Pegg's character, and he kind of like looks at him and then leaves the frame. It's like there's like the sound, and then he comes back and like he like leans back into the
that
frame
one, yeah,
and looks
that's
at him
the-
again, and there's another and then he like leaves again. It's so good. It looks like it was like improv, but there's so much that went into it. It was so good.
And in Hot Fudge,
Fuzz.
Hot Fuzz, yeah. There's like
is that a movie?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Like,
okay.
The
I
characters
thought you were
like
still talking about Scott Pilgrim. That's what we're talking
no,
about.
the character's like in frame and Hot Fuzz, and he's like looking at Simon Pegg like this, and there's like this noise, like as he's like intimidating him, and then this like is so much worse than the actual clip, and then he leaves the frame,
need to check it out.
and then he like dips back into the frame, looks at him again, and then goes out, and it's just like it was one of my favorite visual gags because it was utilizing film, like you know what I mean? It was utilizing the strengths of film, and I loved it.
So that one, and then probably Shaun of the Dead's a real close tie, like second place. Shaun of the Dead's just so funny, and I find them almost all of his films to be heavily rewatchable because of just everything that's in it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, great cast too.
It's just a great example of like,
Characters are
doing
really
way
lovable
more.
too. Like at the World's End, great characters in that movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like very touching and kind of, you know what I mean? You could relate to them, and I loved it.
And honestly, I feel like they're all very different too. It's not even like I'm ever watching the same movie.
I feel like those three are the most similar, but even those within like their
Yeah.
like definite stylistic sort of continuity, like they're definitely each individual stories very
Yeah.
identifiably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. It doesn't feel like I'm just like, okay, same exact thing again. It's somehow still uniquely enough its own thing. And this is, sorry, so to be clarify, we're referring to the Cornetto trilogy, which is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. Both about three different bromances, basically. Not any of the same characters. It's like one of those, it's a trilogy that's like coined a trilogy.
Yeah, it's
but
like
not
yeah, well,
really.
it's like conceptually they all tie together by like theme and style.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just love that movie. I feel like it's, as modern time comedy goes, it's one of the best examples of just doing amazing stuff with your craft while still being funny. So, yeah, should we
Open the
it
floor
up?
to we can, yeah, for sure.
spill
Just a
it.
freestyle. Yeah.
Let's open the floor.
Yeah, let's open the floor
I
to
can talk about
questions.
so many things.
Has anyone
Any questions?
Any questions?
Call us
Yeah,
right now.
our phone rings. It's just like, oh god.
Wait. Let me give you here Brandon's number.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. I would like it if the phone just rang spontaneous and like, I have a question.
They're watching.
Who's in your
Breathing.
house right now?
Watcher.
Whoa.
And Slender Man.
Yeah, right.
Slender Man.
Yeah, we just like turn. There's somebody like peeking out of that
Imagine
crawl
myself.
space.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can't see that.
You can't see it.
And you
No,
will
no.
not see
Yeah,
that.
that was a joke for us. That wasn't for you.
A fine example of I'm gonna take it while I still have it hot. One of the movies that I really love and that Salvatore and I have really bonded on heavily. One of my other really top favorite comedies is this movie Wedding Crashers.
That's a good one. I love that movie.
I really love that movie. It's a movie that
There's something so good about it. I don't even know what.
I know I've seen it. Refresh me
isolate
real
it.
quick.
Yeah.
Refresh me real quick. I know I've seen it.
Yeah, two dudes, Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn.
Oh, okay.
They basically go to weddings, crash them. Then eventually, Owen catches the feels for this one girl, insists that they go past the wedding and go further in so he can hook up with, but really he's just falling for her.
Oh,
Christopher
shoot.
Walken's her
Don't
father, and he's a senator.
Don't they crash a funeral or something?
Well, yeah,
No, he does at
Will
the end.
Ferrell.
Yeah. Owen Wilson's like sort of like because they've gone through like the sort of breakup kind of phase of the romantic comedy, and they haven't gotten back together yet. And he's all depressed. He goes to a funeral and tries to like make out with somebody. Yeah, it's so good. Oh no, it's two separate things. He goes to a funeral. And then before that, he like just grabs like the bride and tries to make out with her because he's like just losing it. And yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, there's literally a. Is this
I feel like it's like almost like
Julio Capelli, or the guy that we mentioned a lot, Julio Capelli. He used to do these sort
that
of
guy.
mini docs, and one of them was a mini docs, sort of. I don't even know if that's the right word for it, but it is. But one of them was actually literally just like my birthday. He he filmed and recorded the whole thing, but like there's a scene where you literally see me hug Salvatore saying, "You sandbagging son of a bitch."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's very deep
Hey,
ingrained.
do you think we can insert that?
We probably could.
We
actually.
probably
It's-
could. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do it.
Let's
Fuck
insert that.
Yeah. There we
Credit to
Wow.
Julio. I think I credited him in the
Last episode.
last week's
We
episode.
probably should get him on here before he goes out of town.
Oh
We
yeah,
really
he's-
should,
He's,
yeah.
he's going to Mexico for like 6 months.
Yeah.
He's just
go. Yeah, we should talk to him before he goes
Yeah.
about his photography work. Yeah.
But it was just that movie's really deeply ingrained, and not necessarily a movie. It's hard to explain that one. That one has a charm that's just really wonderful.
undeniable. I think it has a lot to do with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. Just
Yeah.
being, it's like a showcase for like their just improv and
Yeah.
their whole thing. Yeah.
Their chemistry is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely
Yeah.
can say that. But then the way it's shot, it has this very good there's a lot of good feelings that comes with the way it's shot. It is a little bit more of the even lighting, but like
Well, it is
done in a way where
Yeah.
it's got some.
It works. It's almost got like a real soul to it in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because I can't quite, because I'm talking to you, but it's such a parts of like there's so much of it that's such a by the numbers romantic comedy, but at the same time it's so much more than that. And it's like it's hilarious. Like it's almost a perfect comedy in some ways. And then not only that, the cast is amazing. It's like Christopher Walken, Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams,
that one-
Eliza Fisher, Isla Fisher.
I always forget
She's
her name.
married to Sacha
think that's
Baron
right.
Cohen. Yeah. And then Jane Seymour, who was actually a former Bond girl, was Christopher Walken's wife. And
was
like,
pretty great.
yeah, it's like really good. Actually, John McCain and James Carville are in it too at the wedding. You just see
Really?
them briefly, yeah,
Yeah.
because they wanted figures from
John
the left
McCain.
and the right, so that it wasn't like politicized, but they're like both there at the wedding, and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Will Ferrell, pretty good.
Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah, so
almost
good
got
in
a
that
surprise
movie.
character
Yeah.
in that movie
He
too.
just shows up. I wasn't expecting that shit when I first saw it.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah, Mom.
So that was one that definitely a huge inspiration, and honestly, that's probably like my bigger inspiration when it comes to rom-coms. Definitely looking to capture the charm, because when you capture that charm, there's like a few. I'm pretty damn picky in my rom-coms. There's only a small handful I like, and usually it's because they're just charming as hell. They have to be really charming for me to like fall in love with it. Like Wedding Singer, actually.
Wedding Singer's pretty good. Yeah.
Staple.
It is
You know, it was a
staple.
really charming movie, and it like makes me say I had a hard time reconciling this when all the shit came out, and I finally like really like heard about it. Because I never dug into Woody Allen's past really. Like I never really, because that stuff had been in the record for a while, like what he did, but everyone assumed that Mia Farrow was making it up because of this particularly venomous divorce that they had, and he was using that to his advantage, and he was making her meanwhile she was raising all these kids and trying to, you know, kind of do right by them, and everyone was sort of victim blaming the daughter and then Mia Farrow, and it was pretty fucked up, in fact. But yeah, Woody Allen, I was actually never a huge fan of him. I'm kind of glad that I never really had to deal with that. Like I saw Annie Hall and I was like, oh, okay, you know, like
Yeah.
a couple of his movies. I'm like, all right, but it never really
was something I got super into, but Midnight in Paris, and I think the Owen Wilson charm was a big part of that for me.
Owen Wilson, man.
Yeah, I mean, really, he was great in that movie. The movie just had like a great, so it had almost like a Wedding Crashers type of feeling to it, in the way that it was kind of very, I don't know, it was very kind of uplifting.
Episodes, we should do Owen Wilson.
We should, yeah, Owen Wilson, Moby. But yeah, that movie, like, I have a hard time, like, I don't know, because Woody Allen sucks, man. Like, that's fucked up.
On
what
a
he
happier
did.
note,
Yeah.
since this is our comedy.
No, I'm just saying. No, I mean,
we can go to.
Yeah.
We should probably make like a controversial episode.
that'd be cool.
yeah.
I'd be down with that. Yeah.
On a speaking about films, I mean, it just got me thinking of all the funny shit that I've seen that I didn't really think about. I mean, these are staples. You know, anything Will Ferrell does is just funny.
Oh, dude, honestly, you know, Adam McKay, he directs comedies like Step Brothers and like Talladega Nights and stuff like that. I do appreciate, and then the other guys he did, but I appreciate that there's a definite like style going into it. Like I don't think he's as good as Edgar Wright, but you can see that there's like some gears turning. Like it's not just like, you know, very by the numbers. Like he actually has like a real style. Like in Vice and in The Big Short,
you're like a human encyclopedia of movies.
Oh
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I feel like he knows movies more than he knows
Austin
books.
Powers. It was one of all-time favorite.
Oh yeah,
Austin
1999. Mike
Powers.
Myers. No, I'm kidding.
All of them.
Yeah.
Who directed it?
Actually, I think the first Austin
I have
Powers.
no idea.
Is that first Austin?
I actually don't
I
know.
think the first Austin Powers
put
is
you on the
1999.
spot.
That was like 99. Yeah, 98, 99, something like that. Or was it 97?
Might have been 97.
97,
I think
probably.
the second one was 99.
I don't know who directed it though. Actually,
Great fucking movie though. It really is. Austin
fucking
Powers
love
is one of my favorites.
Austin Powers.
Most of what Mike Myers does.
That's one of those that I go back to and I forget how funny it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Myers? Yeah.
Mike-
Yeah.
Michael Myers. Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Michael
No, Mike
Myers.
And I love it. It's just like such a good James Bond parody. Like it's just like so fucking
It's really good.
yeah.
And again, that was one that I agree that I went back to and I was like, oh wow.
Wayne's World 1 is funny in a lot of the same
Wayne's
ways too. Like those, I like both of them actually, but like the first one's better, and it's like it's funny in the exact same way that Austin Powers is. Like it was a hilarious fucking movie. Just so many good gags.
Endless quotes that
Yeah.
bros and
Yeah.
not bros, and everyone uses
Yeah.
these endless quotes. and
Yeah,
stuff.
there was one scene. His ex-girlfriend, played by, oh gosh, she was in Twin Peaks. Her name's escaping me. But yeah, she was about to give him like a present. They broke up months ago, but she's like not taking the hint. And she's about to she hands him the present. And he's like, if it's a severed human head, I'm gonna be very upset. It was just like a lot of good like lines like that, and Mike Myers delivers them so well.
Yeah, Austin
Yeah.
Powers. That's one. I actually one that's a fan of all three. I like all three of those.
Same.
I
movies.
like all three of them. I like the first
Same.
one the best, I think.
Yeah.
But I like all three of them.
All of them are good.
Yeah, I think the first and second one are probably the best, slightly better, but I don't really have any issues with the third one. Like I don't think it's maybe not as great, but I still laugh my
I
ass
agree.
off.
I'm a pretty
agree.
big fan of Ace Ventura as well. That's another.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Anything Jim Carrey does, I'm a big fan. I grew up with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I had the Mask DVD.
Yeah.
And I rewatched that over. I mean, I didn't have
The
many,
Mask. Ugh.
Yeah,
I
right.
I
love
didn't
it.
have.
Dude.
I didn't have many DVDs growing up and movies to watch, and I had cable and
Yeah.
PlayStation and then just that DVD.
The scene where he's in Ace Ventura 2 when he's coming out of the rhino's ass, the mechanical rhino, that must be one of the best visual comedy physical comedy gags I've ever seen. Like it's so good.
Yeah, the Mask is really really good too. I know you mentioned it. That one's actually a good one that has a lot
Yeah.
of style to it too. It's not just
It's a very fun movie.
yeah. There's a lot going on there. It's not just
Yeah, it's not straight comedy. It's like
because like, a good example of the straight comedy that I really do still enjoy. Horrible Bosses. I feel like again that's just about capturing the actors, and they're hilarious. They are
Actually, those three
I laugh
guys-
my
was this the
butt
one you were
off.
gonna bring
Yeah.
up? Was it?
Oh,
good?
he was gonna bring one I think up.
No. You were gonna bring up one that was gonna be a good, funny movie, but the whole caption of it you weren't a big fan of. Remember?
I don't know. It might have been Horrible Bosses.
Those three guys work in that movie in a similar way that Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn
Yeah.
did in Wedding Crashers.
They
I think.
carry the movie. They're hilarious. They're hilarious. I laughed my ass off the whole movie, but I wouldn't necessarily say that anything else is making like I don't think the cinematography was anything special. I don't think
Okay.
music
Yeah.
was anything special. I don't think anything else was really there, but they were really funny.
You know what movie was really funny that wasn't a comedy? Drive.
Oh, yeah.
That shit made me
Zinger.
laugh, pause, eject, and put away. Oh yeah, and what's that director I keep talking shit about?
Nicholas Winding Refn who did Drive, or
the guy that you know what I mean? That guy. You and Julio show me this direct.
Terrence Malick.
Terrence
Yeah,
Malick.
yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
he does is just funny, unintentionally.
Ooh, that's a fun little route we can go down.
Unintentional comedy.
Twin Peaks, well, not unintentional comedy,
okay,
but
all right.
Twin Peaks, a different kind of funny, but hilarious nonetheless.
Twin Peaks can be really funny.
Well,
yeah.
it's got like great drama, it's got great funny, it's got great fear.
And I love that. I really love when something's willing to do that, when it's willing to like fire on all cylinders. That's what Nick Frost said too. He's like, I want this to be, real life. Sometimes it's funny, it's sometimes sad, it's sometimes horrifying. You know what I mean? And I love that they just mixed all that together into this really weird show. Like stylistically, that show is so bizarre and it's so against what anyone ever thought would work on TV, but it was so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And then what's another slightly unconventional one? Well, no, this one's more conventional.
Community was a good show.
I was just thinking about this because of TV, but Simpsons is probably one of my first true loves for like anything funny in film or TV. That one was just that one I stick with. It really defined my humor as an adult, or as a child, as a person, as a human being in general. I find that show so funny. I just think that I like that storytelling. Maybe that's why I like the kind of humor that I like. And
Those
I prefer,
writers are so creative.
Yeah, I prefer that over Family Guy, is because of that. Again, coming back to more of having this whole package type of thing. It's not just about joke.
Family Guy's like an animated skit comedy show loosely tied together with a plot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where Simpsons is like, hey, we have a story we're going to get through in one episode from point A to point B. And heck, it could even be a little emotional at some points. And like, also just have their funny little joke gags throughout the entire episode. And I just really love that.
Have you guys seen
man.
Have you guys seen the meme where the Simpsons predicted the coronavirus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
they predicted everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they predicted everything. This is the whole thing I just thought about it. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, a movie I really love. If you want to get to like a really well-made comedy that just kind of works for what it is, I fucking love The Burbs with Tom Hanks. Such a surprisingly solid movie. It was directed by Joe Dante. Got a great cast. You got Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern. It was Laura Dern's father is in it. Corey Feldman, who's kind of at the tail end of his, his fame. It was kind of burning out. But yeah, it was like really just fucking Carrie Fisher is his wife. It's just really good. The guy, short guy, he was in Magnolia. He's the villain. I can't remember his name. He was like this great actor. He had been in a bunch of different movies. But it's just fucking. It was a great like horror comedy, and it was literally just about Tom Hanks is he's home from work, and he's on some sort of leave. I think it's like a vacation, and he's just sort of sitting in the house, kind of like losing his mind. You know what I mean? And he's surrounded by his family, and they're like, you really should get out. And he ends up getting out with another one of his neighbors who he's friends with, and they come to suspect that the next door neighbors who just moved into this old, creepy, gothic-looking house are killing people and burying them in the backyard and stuff.
That's pretty good.
And like they're just slowly over the course of the movie, like getting to a point where they're literally breaking into the house to try to figure out what's going on and to find the bodies and stuff. And it's like about like this like suburban paranoia, but it's like this comedy, like gothic comedy, sort of like horror parody kind of thing, and it's so fucking good. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, this movie is surprisingly great. You know what I mean? Like I don't understand why it's as good as it is. Yeah.
To get out of the movie tangent, you guys have anything else?
Well, I was actually thinking about that same thing. I was just gonna mention, for me, let me think. Funny wise and music specifically, I can think of a couple artists, and they're more of the deliberate funny like artists. Like I do think Little Woody's pretty funny, and then I think obviously I enjoy Weird Al. That's pretty universal.
I like the Beastie Boys. They're pretty funny.
The Beastie Boys ain't funny, bro. You're
Oh,
gonna get
man.
shot.
Oh damn.
Watch out.
I feel like I actually really like. I feel like hold on, what was I gonna say? Lizzo, I feel like it has some pretty funny moments. Her lyrics are kind of quirky in a sense. I'm like, I don't know, it's so over the top that's funny.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite lines that I use a lot is I said it in the group chat when Marzana said that she's full blooded.
100% bad bitch.
I'm 100% that bitch.
That bitch.
That bitch. From this fucking, what's the name of
The
this?
Truth Hurts? Is it Truth Hurts?
Not.
I don't know. Shoot.
I can look at it, but you guys know. 100% that bitch.
Yeah.
Hashtag Lizzo. You're awesome.
She's pretty cool. That one's one that's got some good funny moments. Who else comes to mind when I think of funny music? Oh, I really love One song, a specific song is Broccoli.
Oh, Broccoli. Yeah.
Little Yachty.
I forgot I didn't bring him up.
That's all right. Now I'm bringing him up. So
Yeah, do it. Yeah, we got time.
that song, that's good. That's what I like about that one. Is a good combo of really funny song, just really upbeat, really good to listen to. I can listen to that over that, like,
Fun and funny.
yeah.
I lean towards more the fun part.
Yeah, it's a little bit more on the fun side.
Yeah.
But there are some funny moments in the lyrics, and then the
Oh,
music
yeah.
video I think is just fantastic. That's where the funny really gets into play. It's just so over the top and stupid, but since it's so carefree, it's kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Little Yachty's lyrics and that it's just like, if you were taking it serious, I'd feel like it tainted the song for it to be completely like fun. But if you kind of come in with it a little bit humoristic, it's just like like what
Yeah,
the fuck?
I agree.
You know what I mean? He's very just like blunt, straightforward kind of lyrics. Doesn't give a fuck what people think. Kind of.
And that was an interesting thing I kind of want to touch in on is maybe I don't always necessarily think of funny music, but there's a lot of funny music videos, I feel like.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, I was like, I'm gonna show just like how like almost expressly like visual I am in some senses, but like I can think of a ton of music videos that made me laugh
Intentionally?
intentionally. Yeah, well, the Beastie Boys, like they've got some hilarious like Sabotage.
Oh,
and then
that's why you thought.
yeah, that's what I
Beastie Boys-
meant.
Oh, okay.
Well, they can be. I mean, did you hear their whole first record, like "Fight for Your Right to Party" and like
That's just
all
awesome,
that?
bro.
I mean, no, it's good. No, I like the
Did you
songs, but
laugh?
like, yeah, it was supposed to be a parody. Like,
Do you
it was
want
like,
to die?
oh shit! All right. But like, yeah, they meant the
some
whole thing.
joke.
Like, the whole song was supposed to be ironic, and then people just sort of took it seriously, and like, it was like they were making fun of like the frat mentality
Yeah.
and stuff, and then like they were like the frat mentality ended up like
Yeah.
adopting it, and they're like, ah, fuck. So, but they're like really good musicians, but they're like they can be really funny in their song. Like, some of
Yeah.
their lyrics are fucking hilarious. And then the Sabotage video where they're like these like cheap low budget like 70s cops like chasing around a perp, and it's like the song it's so fucking good, you know. And then that the newest one, God, was for like the hot sauce committee. It was like the 20-minute video, and it was Elijah Wood, Danny McBride, and Seth Rogen were the Beastie Boys going through New York City following the events of the Fight for Your Right to Party video, and it was so fucking it ends with them
I haven't
doing
watched that in a long time.
yeah, so good.
Been a
It's like
minute.
them doing a dance off with Jack Black, John C. Riley,
Damn.
and Will Ferrell, and it's
Really?
who are supposed to be the Beastie Boys from the future who have
Oh,
aged.
wait, I think I've
and then
seen it.
it just ends
Yeah.
with them
Yeah.
peeing on each other at the end for like no and it's
Oh.
just like it's so stupid. But yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, then the Tyler Creator's got funny videos.
Yeah,
and-
Tyler Creator is a great example of just all really funny videos.
R. Kelly.
Oh fuck, man. I brought up Woody Allen earlier. I didn't mean to set the tone like that. I was just talking about what a shame it was.
Thanks, Salvatore.
Yeah, right. You ever bring up Woody Allen?
Controversial.
Yeah.
Controversial.
He supports
artist.
supports Woody Allen.
Okay, all right.
No, I do not.
Nah, I was gonna bring up the music video of I Can't Believe I Can Fly is stupid to me. Anyways, moving on.
Space Jam? Space Jam?
R. Kelly, I Can't Believe
I believe I can fly.
I Believe I Can Fly.
From Space Jam. Sorry. It was in Space Jam.
It
Do you
was in
remember
Space
that?
Why you guys always do this?
Movie references? Come on,
Yeah,
you-
they
Bugs
always
Bunny?
okay. Hang out with these guys. They always like bring up these music things that are tied to movies. I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's a song
Yeah.
first before the movie.
No, I mean, it can be. Yeah.
Well,
Hashtag my life.
To be fair, that's a pretty awesome thing that movies do is highlight songs people probably never heard before.
Martin
for real.
Scorsese's film is
Actually,
very musical.
okay, a little tangent, not comedy related, because you guys said that.
Okay.
One artist I discovered because of a movie was from Garden State, Zach Braff's movie. I discovered the Shins, and
Oh, cool.
the Shins are fucking awesome. I was
Yeah.
just like, this movie's awesome, and the Shins just make it more awesome
Yeah,
in
they're
that
pretty
movie.
great.
And then when I first saw that movie, that my whole summer, or when I discovered that, it was the shit.
I remember
It was the shit.
realizing when
I got
music
extra hipster that
could
day.
be in movies, like, you know what I mean? It can lend such a, like, I think Quentin Tarantino and, like, some of the gangster movies are, like, the first point where I like Scorsese and stuff, and then, like, watching Scarface, I noticed that music played a big role and stuff, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, man.
I think Bohemian Rhapsody, like
It's a funny song.
when they kind of goes to their falsetto. I mean, it's a cult following song. Yeah. When I first heard it, I
associated
was just
with
like,
Wayne's
what?
World, too.
I was like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? And I thought it was funny, and I still think it's funny. It doesn't mean it's a bad song or what. I'm not talking shit about it. I fucking love Queen. But
I fucking love Queen.
fucking love Queen.
Do you want to get shot, Mike?
I'm trying to get shot here,
Yeah, right.
guys. Thanks to
We
Salvatore.
lost our entire white following.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know, right? That
Even-
movie just came out. Fuck you.
Even my mom's like, nah.
Yeah.
It's funny how we have this, Salvatore is 100% American white.
Yeah.
He's half white, half Mexican. I'm more Mexican, but we're all American.
Run like a
All
scale.
American.
we're all-
We're all
isn't that
American.
American?
Isn't
here.
that funny? Isn't that funny, guys?
Heritagely, I'm Mexican.
Yeah. You
But,
know, because I look at these guys and I'm like, they're not completely white. How can they? No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm fucking
In
kidding.
the vein of comedy.
Salvatore
Yeah.
trying to get shot.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
We live in Phoenix, and their cross streets are.
Oh man.
Just kidding.
Oh shit.
And just because I feel like you have to, not just because you have to, but because literally it's that good. But dang, is Charlie Chaplin just really
Charlie Chaplin's amazing.
really
yeah.
good.
Oh, fuck!
shit.
During the film discussion,
Oh,
I was
shit.
gonna mention Jackie Chan.
Oh,
Jackie Chan is in like visual comedy.
Oh, the song Jackie Chan by Post Malone.
Also, the song Jackie Chan. Yeah.
well, that's a good.
kidding.
Hold on.
No,
let me-
because,
I'll
like-
do Charlie Chaplin, then you can segue.
Okay, and then I'll
into
segue to Jackie. Okay, go ahead.
Contain
All right,
yourself,
all right.
Sal.
Pretend you didn't hear that. Go
Sal.
ahead. Yeah.
Contain yourself.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, Brandon.
Tail's wagging right now.
I know, right? Like literally. Now my foot bobs. That's
But
my tail.
I don't mean to say that because you have to because he's a classic. But literally, if you haven't, you really should go watch some Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
It is shockingly good. Like apparently, I was, so for those who don't know, Marzana, my girlfriend, she's from Bangladesh, and like that was been really popular for a long time over there because that's just such a classic humor staple point. And that's what inspired a lot of Bollywood films.
It's universal.
It really is. It's a
Like,
universal.
because it's
It's
dialogue.
silent.
It's silent. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
It's just visual language.
It's so
It's like
visually entertaining.
commentary.
It's funny and along with visually entertaining.
Yeah.
Like they capture it. That's why he's
And what's
legend.
beautiful is about some of his like when he starts getting a little bit later into his career is again he starts doing the thing that gets me is doing this huge balance of having an emotional connection to the story and a big story while still having the whole slapstick humor.
The kid.
Yeah,
Great
is a
Dictator.
example.
Great Dictator's awesome because that kind of fits into like what I was talking about, with, like the literary example where it's like a satire.
And then
where
probably
it's
my
like
favorite, City of Lights.
City of Lights was a great movie. Oh, and Modern Times.
Modern Times
about
also
how the
great.
workers are being abandoned by the Industrial Revolution.
And he's like using this really
Great
funny
set pieces.
Yeah.
Just really creative in that scene where he gets sucked up into the gears and he's twisting through there. It was just a beautiful production design, and the way it was shot was so artistic and interesting.
And he was a madman over these films. Like he like obsessed on making them perfect. It wasn't like, all right, let's go throw me around and do some slapstick. It was again coming back to that.
Those guys
And
were
he
all
did
like
his own
that.
stunts.
Yeah.
He did.
Dude,
And there
Buster-
was not a lot of safety equipment.
No, there
back
was
then.
Buster Keaton, who was a silent movie, and like Buster Keaton, it's like as much an examination of comedy as it is action, because he would just do these crazy stunts. Like there was one he was supposed to run across they had like sort of this building kind of set up where he was supposed to run from one roof and jump to the other one, and he ended up falling short and missing and sliding down. And he was like, "Let's work with that." So the scene now is him jumping, missing it, and then he falls through a bunch of canopies, like just through the like a cartoon. And it's I remember hearing William Friedkin say one time if he had seen some of the Buster Keaton chase sequences before he did the French Connection chase scene, he wouldn't have had the courage to do it because it was such a well-directed action scene. And it's just cool because it's like a visual language where they were expressing comedy completely through movement, and I don't know, something about that's really awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a great example, and you can see you can see thousands of examples of it of those classic grades trickling into comedy today. I mean, even like
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan's great. He said, I remember hearing him say that, and again, there's another Every Frame of Painting. I mean, I highly recommend them because there's another episode solely
A
on
YouTube
Jackie
channel,
Chan.
by the way.
YouTube channel. Yeah. Edgar Wright episode, and then also the Jackie Chan episode are both excellent. They explain a lot of this in detail. But
Do you know what YouTube channel it is?
Every Frame of Painting.
Oh, Every Frame of Painting.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
I
really
need to
great.
check it out.
It was great,
myself.
but Jackie Chan, they get into like basically how like, I mean, he's like Charlie. He said, Jackie Chan, one of his primary influences, not only like people like Bruce Lee, but Charlie Chaplin. You know what I mean? Because his stuff, there's so much visual comedy, and if you look at the way that he directs his scenes, the way the shot is set up and the camera movement, everything is just lending to the action sequence and the comedy that he's like doing. And if you watch, like Drunken Master and Police Story and stuff, you totally see that. Like it's just so well
directed for how, you know, I mean, like Police Story 1 and 2 just got put on Criterion for an example. You know, I mean, just give you a sense of like how well crafted these films are. Like it's I don't know, and it's pretty cool to watch. You know,
Yeah.
Especially Drunken Master, I think is one of my favorites.
All right, I'm gonna mention one last film thing, and then I'm gonna bring it into literature very quick because I got one. But you reminded me of not hugely tied into what you're talking about, but I like the Friday series.
Oh, me too. Yeah, you got
Next
knocked the
Friday is
fuck
my
out.
favorite one.
Yeah.
Next Friday is my favorite. Legit, I got that movie. I was in Walmart. I was like, I'm from a small town, Rio Rico, Nogales. It's south of the border. It's border town.
We drove there after an episode one time.
Yeah,
Remember?
we did.
Yeah,
Yeah, we drove there.
yeah, we drove there. We actually did that.
And literally, there's no mall. Like the biggest, the hottest spot we have is a super Walmart.
Fuck yeah.
So I mean, I moved to Phoenix as I don't know if I say that. I moved to Phoenix high school. Anyways, we were shopping. Me and my family were shopping for groceries in Walmart, and they had the big basket of DVDs that are for $5 or whatever. And when I don't know, I think I was in 6th grade, and my older cousins were into like the American Pie series.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys,
Yeah,
if you guys are fans.
yeah.
or
I've
at
seen
all.
them. I don't mind them.
They're-
All
I
right.
mean, you know, what I mean, like
The first one's
as a
got the
kid,
moments.
as a kid, I liked them more than I do as an adult.
Yeah.
And so they didn't
That's for
age
sure.
well. But I thought they were funny, and as a kid, and so when I just saw the cover, it said Next Friday, and I thought it was gonna be like an American Pie type movie, so I was like, oh, I need to get it. I haven't seen Friday, I haven't seen any of that, and my aunt or whoever took me to that time, bought it. It was only $5. They're like, all right, because I was complaining or whatever, you know what I mean? And
Like, shut your ass up.
I get it, you know. And so once I saw it, I mean, I think it's a rated R movie.
It is, yeah.
And so
Dude, fucking. Go ahead.
and so I got it and I saw it as a kid and that's when I was just like, whoa, like blown away. But seeing it throughout my growing up a few more times is just like it's so funny, so many funny moments.
It's so
in
weird.
that.
It's crazy to me that Ice Cube wrote the first one when he was like right in the midst of like, you know what I mean, just being like a hardcore like gangster rapper. You know what I mean? The fact
Yeah.
that he like did that, and it's like, I mean, there are elements of that in there, but it's very like slapsticky and kind
Yeah,
of
it's
jokey,
fun.
and it's like, yeah.
It's
John
it's so
Witherspoon too.
impressive.
John Witherspoon
He's
is
so
his father.
creative.
He is so creative.
Yeah, R.I.P. John Witherspoon. He died recently, which is unfortunate because they're going to do a revival of the Boondocks, and he's going to come back as Grandpa.
Oh.
But
shit.
it's just so fucking sad. But yeah, he was fucking good in that movie. Like just
Yeah.
like the way he was like lecturing him and like eating his grapes and stuff, and you know what I mean. And then like I don't know the whole thing. And I love Chris Tucker too. Like the reason.
Oh, you're
it's-
talking about Friday.
for the first one, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
It's gonna be
I was
hard.
talking about Next Friday. That's why I got mixed up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I was just jumping around. But yeah, like I don't know. It's gonna be. It's hard for me to like the sequels as much as the first one, just because I like Chris Tucker so much.
Oh yeah,
in
He's-
that movie.
I mean,
yeah.
he's just, dang, like
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I mean. Like Chris Tucker, whatever he does is funny.
I was just bullshitting.
One of my favorite scenes in Next Friday. I think obviously Chris Tucker just kills it in Friday.
Yeah.
But one of my
Debo.
favorite scenes, yeah, Debo kind of
comes back.
Um,
Interesting fact: he also saved the people on the boats at the end of the Dark Knight from the Joker's social experiment by throwing the detonator out the window. So, thank you, Debo.
and not necessarily Tebow involved in this scene. One of my favorite scenes is with the dad. I forget his actor. It was Ice Cube's dad. Or
John Witherspoon. Yeah.
John Witherspoon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I forget that character's name.
I can't remember his name in the
But
movie.
John
yeah.
Witherspoon was stepped on some dog shit, and
I fucking
he's
love
in the
him.
car. And
Yeah.
he's like, it smells like dog shit. And
Yeah.
he's like it has shit. Like he has a newspaper stuck to him, or like when he's he's in the gas station scene, and it's just like, oh man, you killed him, spraying all that. I don't know. I can't help to laugh every time I watch that.
That's so funny.
But
What about Eddie Murphy? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Eddie Murphy,
Well, because I just remember that he was in Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, and then I was like, what about Eddie
Oh.
Murphy's comedies? But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
dude. I mean,
There's so many movies.
No,
There's
I
so
know.
many.
I know.
We gotta switch.
We got to
switch-
rein this in.
The literature. Let me bring it back to
Bring it back to literature.
We kind of been neglecting literature a little bit. Literature for scholar. I mean, books.
Nerds.
Not everything's literature. Apparently, to the well-educated.
To the literati, to the literature,
Hashtag-
the big lit.
Hashtag who fucking cares? But books. I find a lot of books to be funny.
Yeah.
I know Brandon has had encounters where he just
They're
had
not so funny.
And to be
not so
fair,
funny.
I feel like I do listen to a lot more. I lean heavily into. I like mysteries. I like horror, which is weird because these are things I don't necessarily watch in movies. But when it comes to books, I really like them. Mysteries, horrors, adventures, those types of things. So
You know what I noticed? I've been like in a kick of checking out like biographies kind of thing, and so I don't really look up comedic books necessarily. Haven't too much dabbled into that, but Kevin Hart's
I vaguely remember
little
that one.
biography.
I remember the name, but I know what you mean.
I had it pulled up here, and I was gonna talk about it, but I can't make this up. And he has the book. You can read it. He's also an Audible where he actually reads it, and him reading it kind of adds the Kevin Hart effect. You know what I mean? How he's just funny, and some of his real story that happened to him growing up with his father being so like out there and going through issues and just making what isn't funny like a traumatic moment and seeing it in a comedic lens is super funny. And obviously a lot of his stand-up is him talking about his family and his past and stuff, and it's just like it's so crazy like to think that, but he kind of goes into more deeper to like a lot of moments where I'm just like I'm listening to this and I'm at work and I'm just like dying. I'm just dying. And hence we had those moments where you're just dying and people are just like, what's going on?
Yeah, right.
But there's a lot of moments like that in his book, and also to get off that book a little bit, Trevor Noah's Born a Crime.
I've heard that's very funny. I still need to read it.
It's funny. It's not just like it's a crazy story. It's a fucking crazy story. Like,
Did he talk about his mom was shot in the head
yeah,
a while ago? Yeah,
He
just like
shot.
fucked up, crazy, real stuff. And she survived.
She survived. She was
Yeah.
shot in the face. Well, it came out of her face. She got shot in the back of her head.
Yeah.
But that, it's a bit of a spoiler,
Oh.
honestly.
Sorry.
But you haven't even read it.
No, I saw it. It was a documentary about him putting on like his first one-man show in South Africa, and it was like a couple weeks or like maybe a month or two after that, and he was visiting her, and it's like she should stop being so active. And he was talking about like how he wanted to move her out of the God, what is the name of the area in South Africa? It was like
shoot.
Where was it?
It was like she lives in sort of like a slum or sort of an area that was designated for like the black majority like during apartheid, and it's like that the
Alexandra?
apartheid has been lifted, but it's like still kind of the same. It's still got like sort of like a ghettoized kind of feel to it. I can't remember what it was called, but she didn't want to leave, and it's like so dangerous there. Is like he was like sitting there at her kitchen table like bobbing his leg, like just watching her, like we got to get her out of here,
And in the book, he kind of goes over where he was such a troublemaker and he was causing trouble, and his mom, like, she was fit, and so when he ran, she ran, and she always got caught him. But when he was getting older, he got longer legs and got faster and stronger and was able to surpass his mom, and mom got a lot older, but she got creative. Instead of saying, it's like, hey, and you end up getting him, she got people involved. She's like, oh, he stole something. He stole my purse.
Jesus
He stole
Christ.
my purse. And they're like, everyone else got involved and put him in danger. And since Trevor he's a lighter skinned African at the, they didn't see the resemblance as much since she's a lot darker. And so they were like,
That's very funny.
it's funny. That's another funny moment that happens where he, like, oh no, she's my mom, and then they didn't believe her. She's like, because they don't look alike. So,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, she's my mom, and then she got him, and then it just it ended or whatever.
I'm gonna check that out.
Funny, it's so funny.
Any last minute literature mentions or anything like that before we wrap
I
up?
feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Kurt Vonnegut. I just wanted to bring him up. He's good. I haven't read him in a couple years now. I read like Slaughterhouse-Five and Cat's Cradle, Breakfast of Champions. Just a great satirical writer. Again, his stuff has this kind of black humor tone to it, where it's like very dealing with honestly like very bleak facts about human nature, and a lot of them, like Cat's Cradle is about the apocalypse. Slaughterhouse-Five is about World War II and like the bombing of Dresden, and there's like some sci-fi elements kind of interspersed throughout it, but there's a lot of like just sort of real human atrocity and cruelty. And then what was Breakfast of Champions? Sort of that one's kind of hard to describe. It's like this like just series of just odd events in sort of everyday America with like these really strange people. You know what I mean? That's an interesting one, but his stuff is very kind of dry humor. So I don't know if it's as much laugh out loud and funny. Some of it is when you kind of think about it, but his stuff was always like that. Like it was always a comedic slant to it, where it's like, human beings are monsters and we're probably gonna fucking kill ourselves, but hey, and like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, let's try to be nice to each other, and like, a joke, you know what I mean? But that's reducing what he was saying. Yeah. But like that was kind of like the central theme to a lot of it, honestly. But I feel like I just wanted to call him out. And then Christopher Moray here is really funny. I haven't read a lot of his stuff though, honestly. But
I love Garfield.
Garfield's great. Yeah, Garfield was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mondays, am I right?
I used to have stacks of those.
Yeah.
Really?
You did too, actually.
I did, yeah, a long time ago.
I like the show.
That's my insight on.
Yeah. And with that, thank you for joining us.
I hate Mondays.
Yeah, I hate Mondays too. I love lasagna though.
But yeah, I think that was fun.
That's pretty good. It was a good episode. Awesome. Yeah, that was fun. I had a good time. Guys.
Good time.
Oh. Now, yeah.
Hey, all right. So, for the audience, you guys know any other, maybe we can do a part 2 comedy. Throw us your recommendations if, and just you can send it to my Instagram at Mike Vivace, or our podcast Instagram is
21st Century Underground.
21st Century Underground. Or write it down in the comments in the YouTube. And
heck, even let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to cover.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to hear us. I don't know. Maybe something even super specific, like I'm not thinking of something fast enough. Rom-coms, very specifically. Maybe that you want to hear about our rom-coms.
Our rom-coms, and our forte is music, literature, and movies. So, anything to, tickles your nipples. Just let us know.
Yeah, let us know what that is.
And
we'll deliver that to you.
Send your address, please.
Yeah, please don't do that.
And if you guys
where's
think
this going?
Well, if you guys, I'm going.
Okay.
If you guys think Pink Guy Dora the Explorer is crazy, let me know, because it is.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Remember, you can follow us at 21st Century Underground on Instagram, or 21st Century Underground Podcast on Facebook. You can follow us at our respective tags, which will be in the description. We'll be back next week with more stimulating.
Another great content.
Content is king. We just need to push it the fuck out into your faces, because that's all that matters.
You gotta stroke it first.
Quantity, fucking
stroke the content. Thank
you. Grind.
You can
grind.
Find me at, as I said before, at Mike Vivace, and spelled MikeVivace on Instagram.
On Instagram at the Samsara Studios. I'm not going to spell it.
Yeah, you can find me at the Neon Codex. That's where I'm going to be on Instagram.
All our social medias is linked on the 21.
It'll be on the
21st Century Podcast Instagram.
Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe, because we're a modest production. We got views in the low double digits, but we're climbing. We're trying to get there.
We're climbing. You.
Brandon's mom watches us consistently. We're pretty sure a few of our friends might.
If you find anything insightful, just hit the like button.
Hit that like button.
Out.
Yeah.
Share it with someone. If you don't like it, share it anyways.
You should just be like, oh my God. There was me before I heard the 21st Century Underground podcast, and there's me after I've heard it, because they have just It's so quotable.
Like Julio, if you got time to find a picture of Mike, you have time to hit like.
It's true.
I'll try to make a
Yeah,
dumb
you do.
photo.
Yeah,
For
what
real.
The, what the fuck? I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that shit.
At
God damn
Cena
it.
de Copeles, please spam his shit.
Yeah,
Alright.
just spam it. Just dox him. It'd be so fucked up. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, more just like this, just like what we've given you right now. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you. We'll see you in a little bit.